Hiya, in this video I am going to go through scenario number 3 for the spreadsheets. It's called Crazy Cars. Okay, so task 1. On the employee information sheet, place the today function in cell B10. So the today function is literally just equals today. You don't need to put anything in the brackets, so look like that, enter, and you can see that it knows the date from the computer, the 2nd of October 2021. In column C, use a formula to calculate the number of days each employee has worked for Crazy Cars with reference to the today function. Right, so I want the difference between today and when they started. So it says use absolute and relative referencing where appropriate, change the format to general so the number of days is shown rather than the date. That's already happened automatically, so I don't need to change it. But what I do need to change is the fact that I always want to refer to cell B10 as I drag this down. So highlight B10, F4 to put the dollar signs in. That makes it an absolute cell reference, and then I can copy it down. Part C, in column D, now it says use a function. I was troubled, I couldn't find a function, so I actually looked at the answer and they've used a formula. A formula is when you say sort of equals and give it a sum to do. A function is where you use one of the functions on that FX button. So I was looking for it to see if there was a function. I didn't actually Google it as well, but in their answer they've just used a formula, so I'm going to do the same. So the formula to convert days into years will simply be the number of days divided by 365. Where the function comes in is the round down formula. So, sorry, function, I'm doing it now. Round down. Okay, so the number that I want to round down is going to be the number of days divided by 365. And the number of digits, it tells you here, to which you want to round negative rounds to the left of the decimal point. What? I just know that 0 means that there'll be no decimal places. If I was to put 1, you can see that it's going to give you an answer of 9.7, so that's clearly not what we want, so we want 0 decimal places. Okay, so again, do I need any absolute cell referencing? No, because I do want this to follow down like so. Show formulas, I'm not going to bother doing that, we've done it in previous ones. Auto fit column widths. I'm not going to show formulas, but just a quick reminder on the auto fit there. And save your work. Right, task 2. On the basic pay worksheet, it says the basic wage is dependent on the number of full years each employee has worked. An employee's starting rate, so for the first 12 months, they get £160 per week. The basic rate per week increases by 10%, so it's going to be equals that starting rate times, I do increases in percent like that, so it's the whole and then an extra 10%, so times it by 1.1. Excuse me. And we want to use that same formula for the first 5 years. At that point, it says up to a maximum of 5 years. So at that point, it stays the same. So I'm just going to put equals the previous one, and then I'm going to copy that formula down, and you can see that it just keeps the number the same. Format the basic wage to pounds and pence. So let's just do that. Currency. There we have it. Save your work. Task 3. The sales team are paid a basic rate plus commission for the cars that they sell. Each employee receives 5% of the profit they have earned from each car they have sold that week. God, that's nice. Any cars sold at a loss must be highlighted for the finance manager. So over the page, task A, in column E, oh, sorry, I'm in the car. I was a bit puzzled there. I should be in the car sales information. So in column E, use a formula to calculate the profit and add a suitable title. So suitable title is going to be profit. The sum is going to be equals the sales, subtract the cost. We can copy that all the way down. And then in column F, using an if function, calculate the amount of commission earned on each vehicle. If the car has been sold at a loss, then the word none should appear in the cell, and add a suitable title. Right, so this is going to be my commission column. So my commission, if I just flick back, was it 5%? Yeah, so we're going to do 5% of the profit if there's a profit, and say the word none if there is no profit. So here where we've got a loss, and here I think it's only those two, I'm expecting my if statement to give me the word none. So let's do our if statement. Let's use the menu because it shows it a bit clearer. Right, so my logical test is, do I have a profit? So the easiest way to do that is to say if the sale is more than 0, I think. And if that's true, we want to work out what 5% of the profit is. So go to the profit cell and work out 5%. So you could go 5% like that, times 5%, literally type it in, or you could go 0.05. It doesn't matter, both will give you the same result. And if it's false, we want to say the word none. So remember, we need our double speech marks there. So, okay, now do I need any absolute cell referencing? No, because I want it to follow down. So if I double click here, you can see that it appears to have done the job correctly. All monetary values should be formatted to currency to 2 decimal places. They are already. I could have changed it up there if they hadn't been for some reason. In column E, use conditional formatting to identify the losses. The cell fill should turn red. Right, so column E, I'm applying conditional formatting. Anything that's a loss, so anything that's less than 0, I want to turn red. Light red fill, that'll do. Perfect. Auto fit the column widths. So highlight everything, hover on the dividing line, double click. Done. Task 4. Using the car sales information worksheet, so same one. Create a pivot table in a new worksheet that shows the total commission earned by each salesperson per make of car. Right, so conveniently I've got that highlighted. So if I go insert, I just want a pivot table. If I'd wanted a chart as well, it'd be over here. So just the pivot table. I've got the range and I want it in a new worksheet. So it's been helpful here. It's told me we want the salesperson. Right, wait a minute. So we want the total commission earned by the salesperson and the make of car. Now that doesn't look very handy at all at the moment. So we need to drag. Now, if it hadn't told you, you could just have dragged things and see sort of what looks sensible. But it has told us that it wants the salesperson to be the columns and the make to be the rows. It still doesn't look right because the commission obviously needs to be the value. So I've dragged the commission over to values, but it still doesn't look right. It's saying here count of commission. So it's counting who gets commission. Well, we don't want that. I want to go back to the information, the car sales. I want it to add up the commission, not just count who's getting it. So to change that, if we right click, no, hang on, if we highlight our pivot table and then I right click, this gives me the option to change things. Look, show values as, summarize values as. At the moment it's ticking count. Oops. I want it to do it by sum. Right, now that looks sensible. It's adding up the commission for the various people. That looks a bit silly having that blank, so oh, that's going to affect the pivot table. So wait a minute. So why has it done that? I'm not too sure why it's done that. I'm going to carry on and I'll have a look at the end. Okay, so we've got our pivot table. Format the values in the pivot table as currency to 2 decimal places. So we can just highlight and change that to currency like so. Name the pivot table worksheet pivot. So right click here, rename it and move it to the right of the car sales information. So just dragging it over there. Save. Right, next bit, task 5. Show the following information on column B. So this is in the total pay worksheet now, so clicking on there. In column B, use a VLOOKUP from the employee information worksheet to extract the number of years each employee has been employed. Right, so let's go to our function. We want VLOOKUP. So I want to look up the person's name. And it's telling me to look up how long have they been employed. So I want to look up in that table array there. I want it to stay as that table. So let's put the F4 in now. Okay. The column index number. So let's go back and see. So the column index number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just want a number 4 in there. And the range lookup will be false because I want an exact match. So it's returned the number of years and then I copy that down. Right, next one. In column C, use a VLOOKUP from the basic pay worksheet to calculate the basic weekly pay. So here I'm going to be looking up how many years has the person done to work out their basic rate of pay. Right, so it's another VLOOKUP. Let's do it the other way this time. So just type in VLOOKUP, open the bracket. I want to look up how many years that person has done. I want to look that up in this table, and I'm going to want the second, so comma after that, I want the second column, comma, false, close bracket, enter. It's picking up that guaranteed pay. The problem is that I forgot to put the dollar signs in to make that an absolute cell reference. So you can see clearly it wasn't working properly. As soon as you get like not applicables, you know some alarm bells are ringing. So let's try that again now. That looks much more sensible because I've changed my array there. You can see I've got the dollar signs in. Okay, next bit. Use an HLOOKUP. Ah, this is new. An HLOOKUP from the pivot worksheet to enter the commission earned per employee. Right, so let's do an HLOOKUP. Right, so I need to look up the name of the employee. I'm going to my pivot table. And I want it to tell me these commission figures. So I want it to look up in that table, so look up the person's name and then tell me what's in this grand total part of it. So again, I'm going to want that to be an absolute cell reference, so function F4. So let's go back to our thing. So I need to know which row I need to return. So if the person's name is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I think. Oh, I'll put it in the wrong place. 13, and we want that to say false. Right, does that look right? So Ryan Lee, 315. Where's Ryan? There we go, 315. Yes, looks like it's worked. So then let's copy that down, and we have completed part 4. Just realised in the book they haven't got a part 1. Sorry. Right, part 5. In cell D10, yeah, use a function to determine the average commission. Right, so average, open brackets, and I want the average of those numbers. Any member of staff who earns more than the average receives an extra £100 bonus. In column E, use an if statement that calculates any bonus. Right, so if my figure is greater than the average, and that average has to stay the same, so I'm going to put absolute cell referencing on that, comma, oh, no, wait a minute, it's greater than that with the absolute cell referencing. Don't know what happened there, probably because it was highlighted. So put the comma in afterwards. So if that's true, I need to work out, oh, I don't need to work out anything, I just need to give them £100. So if it's true, put 100. If it's not true, i.e. it's under that amount, I'm going to say put 0. Close the bracket, copy it down. Has it worked? looks reasonable. The ones that are bigger than the average get £100 bonus. The ones that are below do not. Right, in column F, work out the total pay. It's even told us to use the sum function. So I'm going to highlight across there, auto sum, copy it down, calculate the total pay for each employee for the week, done that, and the total wages being paid. So the total is just going to be the sum of that. Just wanna, it doesn't tell me to do this, but I'm just going to make it look a bit nicer. So I'm going to have a single line above, double line below. Okay. I'm sort of feeling the need to write average there as well. It hasn't told me to do that, but there you go. Right, format all monetary amounts to pounds and pence. That's already done. Show formulas, auto fit column widths. I'm not going to bother showing formulas. All right, I'll tell you what, let's do it for change. Formulas, show formulas. Yeah, if we wanted that, leave it at that, but I'm going to put it back and then just auto fit. Right, task 6. The finance director wants to see how each salesperson has contributed to the total commission earned. Create a pie chart using the total pay worksheet to show each employee's commission as a proportion of the total. Right, so I need the employees, so let's highlight that. And then I want, it's asking just for the commission. So if I press Control and then select those as well, they don't all have to be together. So Control allowed me to select like that. And then if we go Insert, here's my chart. So I want a pie chart. 2D will do. All right, so that's looking good. So commission, who's earned what? Give the pie chart a suitable title. Commission seems okay to me, but if I had wanted to change that, I could just have overtyped it. Add percentage labels. Right, so the easiest way to do that is when you click on it, you get this little plus sign. This is newer. This must be a newer version of Excel or something. So chart element, so we go add, right, data labels. So you can see when I sort of click on that, it's going to put the pounds in. So I'm going to have to go to more options to change that to a percentage. Okay. So I can shut that down now. I'm happy with that. Move the pie chart to a new worksheet called pie chart. So let's make a new worksheet, right click, rename pie chart, and move, where is it gone? So I want to move this. I'm just going to go right click, cut, right click, paste, and I might make it a bit bigger. All right, so you can see the people's names down the bottom there. Move the sheet to the right of the total pay it already is, and that completes scenario number 3.